With the highly anticipated releases of June now about a month behind us, I figure it's about time to start talking about some of the projects I was anticipating the most. Of course, at the top of that list was Kanye West's 2 albums, his solo project Ye, and his collaboration with Kid Cudi, Kids See Ghosts. Now, I'm not going to talk about where I put these albums in comparison with his other works just yet, just because they're still quite recent. So to get started, let's begin by taking a look first at Ye. During the lead up to Ye, I really had no idea what to expect from it. Kanye was pretty much all over the place with his political comments on Twitter, followed by the Charlemagne interview, and then, of course, the TMZ comments. Times were rough for Ye and his fans, and plenty of people were writing him off as having lost it, and many who hadn't figured his album would be the final nail in the coffin. Even looking at the music releases preceding the album, all that did was make it even more harder to figure out what this album was going to sound like. In true Kanye fashion, it was hard to get a beat on what exactly he was doing, but I think it's safe to say overall, Ye the album ended up not being what many people expected, not even Kanye. Right away from its cover art of "I hate being bipolar, it's awesome," and Kanye's scratchy handwriting overlaid on the Wyoming mountains, Ye creates an impression that it's going to be a personal album, but of a type that we haven't seen from Kanye. An actual, honest look in the mirror. Now, self-reflection is nothing new for Kanye, but most of that has always been through the lens of his ego. Ego has always been a major component for Kanye in his music, and it's one of the aspects I know personally I enjoy about his work the most, but Ye immediately throws that off with its intro track, "I Thought About Killing You," where Kanye talks to his ego about how he's thought about killing it, and by extension himself. This coming to terms of killing one's ego is really what Ye is all about, and like Kanye himself tweeted, "What's Kanye West without ego? Just Ye." I really see this album as the inverse of Yeezus and the step after the life of Pablo in terms of its themes. Yeezus was about using the ego as a tool to mask the doubt and insecurity Kanye was feeling at the time, going all out with the aggression to counter it. Whereas on Ye, the tool is retired and the doubt and insecurity aren't covered up, but rather confronted. Yeezus the god no longer exists, and in his place we just have Ye the man. And with The Life of Pablo, that album was about Kanye juggling the different aspects of Kanye the artist and Kanye the husband and father. And at the end, he is able to find the balance and choose the family life. Ye is just the progression of him settling into that role. It really does feel like, in terms of its themes and subjects, it's all coming full circle for Kanye. And that might be the aspect I like the most about the album. That in just 7 tracks, it feels like it covers all the bases for Kanye at this point in his life. Considering the album was originally all scrapped and put together again in just 2 weeks before its release, it's crazy to have it seem so complete. Looking at the tracks themselves now, I Thought About Killing You starts off with this great Francis and the Lights sample, just this chanting "I know" softly in the background as Kanye comes in with this spoken word confrontation with his ego, and then it gets into this more aggressive and up-tempo switch, like one last expulsion of the ego, almost like an exorcism, calling out so-called superhero rappers and those who didn't think he'd have his success after all his missteps. Yikes quickly goes into this off-tilted exploration of Kanye's opioid addiction and his bipolar disorder, incorporating some of the melody from Wolves on the chorus and ending with a Yeezus-like rant and scream. All Mine and Wouldn't Leave are sparse tracks that are 2 sides of the same coin, the former dealing with infidelity and the latter an emotional ballad to Kim Kardashian. No Mistake is a grand celebration of overcoming hardship with Kid Cudi and Charlie Wilson. The standout track and my personal favorite, Ghost Town, is this complete experience, with this beautiful track celebrating freedom and liberation from whatever has been holding you back, with John Legend on the intro, Kid Cudi on the elevated chorus, and 070 Shake's minute-long outro about returning to childlike innocence and letting go of the things that have hurt you. And then the last track, Violent Crimes, is a dedication to his daughters, his fears for them in the future, and how his perspective on women has changed now that he himself has become a father. The production on these songs ranges from sparse to grandiose, each pulling on a different element to great effect. You've got a lot of heavy bass and synth emphasis, like on I Thought About Killing You in the second half, Yikes and No Mistakes, with other elements worked in, but then you've got songs like All Mine, Wouldn't Leave, and Violent Crimes, which keep the beat to a minimum and just use a simple bass, drum, and synths, usually preferring to have the vocals do the heavy lifting as the beat either cuts out or takes a back seat. Ghost Town is somewhere in the middle of this, with the first half being this combination of the Royal Jester sample with some added elements, and then transitioning into more pulled back production on the outro with the guitar riffs, the simple drums, the twisted synths that kind of come in at the end. It's easy to see why that was originally going to be on Kids See Ghosts. The album really feels production-wise like the refinement of the Life of Pablo sound. It blends the more soulful sample-based production of Kanye's early work with the more synth, bass, and electronic elements of his later work, and unlike The Life of Pablo, where I felt it was very disjointed and sloppy, here it all pieces together nicely into 7 tightly put together tracks. As an aside, I should also mention, I don't mind the fact that it's 7 tracks long. I always prefer quality over quantity, and I take 7 great tracks over 20 weaker tracks any day of the week. Ye is an exploration into a side of Kanye we haven't really had a look at since 808s. Even then, it's the most unfiltered and exposed I think Kanye has ever been on an album. The veneer of ego has been pulled back, however this has been done willingly by Kanye. He wants to show people who Kanye the man is, what he has been through these past few years and how it has changed him, but without the front of the ego making him up to be more than he is. Ye is Kanye's way of letting people and even himself know he is just a human like the rest of them, and that he's going to be quite okay with that. And with all that, that's going to be it for me. As always, let me know in the comments your thoughts on Ye. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you like? What did you not like? I'm always curious to know what you all thought. And with that, I'll see you all next time.